All right, just as the dogs go crazy, we're live on YouTube.
Perfect.
0 people, so that's good. Good stuff. Um, okay, and then
So we're
let's
keeping our numbers up.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's let's count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, click.
Welcome to the Shovel Pod. I'm Woody.
Hey, I am George.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm Jeff.
Oh, I said and. I probably shouldn't have said and.
It's all right.
Like I was going last.
Forgot about me. That's all.
I was thinking about this yesterday. Actually, we started this. I was watching the news and they were talking about UFOs. How about like there's been so many like sightings in Ohio, and this lady was like talking about how it's fantastic.
I can't stop laughing. Sorry, George is just munching on Triscuits.
You skip breakfast? What the fuck are you doing?
Sorry, Woody.
I was like, is this ASMR?
I can't laugh because I want to inhale one of those wheat things.
I was listening, Woody. I just couldn't
Yes.
hear over the
Woody's starting off mad.
No.
Well, I was
Never.
going to interrupt his intro, but
All right, go for it. I'm sorry.
But so basically, this lady was like worried about aliens. She's like, if aliens come down and take over the planet and all this shit.
I hope so.
But I was really kind of breaking it down in my mind. When we like say there was an island full of monkeys, and on that island there was a bunch of gold, and we wanted that gold,
right?
Okay.
What would we do?
Fuck
Go take the fucking gold.
We'd go take the gold.
Right. Or worst case scenario, like if it's like modern times and PETA's right there, we would relocate the monkeys. We wouldn't hide from the monkeys to take the gold.
Right.
You know what PETA stands for?
People eating tasty animals.
That's right.
So
Okay, but
my whole point with this is if aliens had bad intentions, we would have no way of stopping them. They have no reason to hide from us. If we don't mean that much, that they just come in and take what they want, they'd have no reason to hide from us. We pose no threat to them.
I guess it depends on if you think a lot of people
George
think
doesn't like this topic.
I love it.
A lot of people think like the aliens are like watching us, or maybe they created us and it's like almost like an aquarium they're watching and they don't want to interact with us.
Right. Okay, I get that. But then there'd be no reason to fear them.
True.
But as naturally, people fear what they don't understand and what they don't know.
Correct.
Right. I get that, but I don't think we should like if aliens have visited the Earth, I can't imagine a scenario where we would need to fear them because if they got here, they're far superior technological to
And
us.
if they wanted us dead, we'd be dead already.
We'd be dead.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
Or if we were nothing to them, they wouldn't hide themselves from us.
Well, I think the problem, Woody, is that we depict aliens as being angry and mean and want to take us over or whatever, and people hear the stories about abductions and think the worst. Oh my God, I was stolen by aliens. Like, yeah, but you're back. You're fine. That kind of thing. But
yeah, but
sorry, I got one more thing. And the reason we do that is because we expect them to be like us. Because if we found a planet, we'd go in and fucking dominate them because humans are assholes.
Right.
Aliens probably are not like that. They've probably evolved past where their anger and just domination is everything. And they're probably like, oh, look at these cute little animals. So,
I agree with that because, like, if they can get here, just like what he was saying earlier, if they can get here, then nothing we could do. Nothing. There's nothing we could do. It would be like shooting an elephant with a BB gun.
Well, but part of the thing to go back with what Jeff was saying, in my opinion, if you look at every single thing on Earth, okay, it fights and it protects its home and stuff like that. Okay. So, I mean, if you walk up on a mother tiger, that tiger is going to maul you. It's every single thing that this earth has been made up of is bred to fight and to protect or to take over. You know, you look at tribes of monkeys, you know, packs of monkeys, not tribes. Sorry. Yeah. I fucked that up bad.
That's okay.
So anywho,
Jeff
you
will edit it out.
yeah, no, he won't.
I
He's gonna
know.
rip it and
I
like
can't.
to
It's
boost
live
the
now.
volume,
There's no
he's-
editing.
he's gonna
I know
boost
what
the
you're saying.
volume.
I think they're actually troops. I think you were getting the
Troops.
word.
All right, there's
Yeah.
troops of monkeys that take over other partitions because the food is more plentiful and everything else from other monkeys. Or you know, you can look at even like in the ocean regions, you know, you have sharks that battle each other for food and for that territory in that space. So I think to look at people and not think that we wouldn't fight would be the part that I would firmly believe is the ignorant part of.
Well, you would hope we would have evolved past that, and then if they're getting here from wherever they're from, they have evolved past where we are.
They'd have
And-
to be.
Right. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but the more you like civilize, the more you want to take that, you know, dog eat dog, you know, only the strong survive. The more you kind of go away from that.
But
It's
that's
still back there.
Well, look
Yeah,
at let me compare George's and my scenarios because we're both right on the aspect. Like he's right. Everything fights back.
and you're right
My
too.
my point is
Oh,
they are
God.
past that,
Jesus.
and if they're past that, we don't need to fear them. And the reason they're hiding from us is because they know we'll fight back and they want to be peaceful.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that it would be like if DJ's youngest son wanted to fight him at this point. He's not going to just punch him hard in the
destroy
face,
him.
right?
Wait a minute.
I get that, but that doesn't mean they want to fight. You're missing the
3-year-old
point there.
little
It's
So what I'm saying is we wanted to fight them. I'm sure.
Wait a minute. But Woody, I think going back to what I said, and something that you picked up was the more advanced you get, the
Right.
farther away you get from fighting. Okay.
Right, yeah.
So I think it kind of, in a way, almost proves both theories right. And now with you, because if we're not as advanced, they know, they're like, these guys are fucking animals, you know? They're just gonna tear us apart. Because you're telling me, like, if you had a fist fight with a gray, all right, that you couldn't beat up a gray alien.
Do you think they would ever allow it to get to be to a fist fight?
I think,
if they can control.
If you said
time
you
and
could have
space.
my sperm, but I get 3 rounds with a gray, I think we beat up the thing, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm a donor. And then the master race is all 5'5", 245 pounds of raw steel and sex appeal.
I guess it all depends on like
Oh,
what
but
their
I lied about
abilities
the
are.
weight too. It's a little over 240.
Yeah, it's not going to come to a fist fight. You're not going to get into a ring with them.
Oh, you know, I never thought it would. I'm just saying it actually would depend on, just because they're frail looking doesn't mean they're not super powerful.
right.
You know,
I mean, if they've got the technology to get here, they've got the technology to destroy us in a single blast. Like
That's
they've got-
exactly my point.
if they have weapons, you're assuming.
no, but
they
I'm
have
saying
weapons.
even physical abilities. I mean, their
Well-
arms might be little toothpicks, but they might be able to lift 700 pounds.
Right.
We don't know how what their physiology is.
I don't know. I
Who
mean,
knows?
physics plays a role.
Because what you can look at is basically if they spent X amount of time in zero gravity, you know that their muscle density is going
Nil.
to zero. Basically,
We're basing that on our perception of
But you
like
almost
us
have to.
being in.
Well,
Well, if
they might have
gotten
artificial
here,
gravity.
Yeah, they've probably figured all that out. Maybe the Greys are just their avatars, and they're not even. Maybe they're just like a biological robot that this
Hmm.
this has sent out.
Yeah.
So like they could care less if we kill them or whatever because they can
Right.
just
They
hit a button and pop another.
they
one.
wouldn't be grays though. I thought all avatars were blue.
Only James Cameron's.
Who
So-
care? Like that movie, that second movie's coming out.
I never even watched the first.
Right? Does anybody care about that? Like it's been so long.
Right.
No.
Like they've waited way too long.
Right.
This is the way all TV shows do it now, man.
Right. They're like, oh, hey, we haven't made a movie in forever. Let's redo the entire series.
Like DJ, I think we went and saw that at the theater. You probably
Yeah, we
already
did.
saw it, but that was the first time I saw it. That was what?
Oh, it was a million years ago. I mean, it was fucking forever
14
ago.
years ago. My daughter was turning 13 years ago. My
Okay.
daughter was turning 2 when it came out on DVD, and we watched it 1,000 times because she loved it. She's like, blue people, blue people. I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, it was on all day, every day.
Yeah, but when did it come out in theaters? Like when was it originally? Because like I thought it was
I
a
don't know.
big wait between theaters and DVD.
It's probably 15 years, probably 2007.
It might have, yeah.
Yeah, I would bet. Yeah, 2007 somewhere around there. I mean that.
Because it was right around when I moved to Alabama. So
Was it?
2008,
I thought it was
2000.
before.
Sorry about my dogs. They are now fighting.
2009.
There you go.
2009. Wow. Okay,
Woody, isn't your birthday the 18th?
it is.
Yeah.
Of December.
Yeah. 2009, Woody's birthday.
Happy birthday, Woody from James Cameron.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
I don't
But,
know. I think it's a fascinating topic, Woody. To
Avatar or the aliens?
the aliens, to get
Well,
back to
They
to
are
that.
aliens.
See, here's the thing, and that may explain in certain ways why we don't have definitive proof of, or the public doesn't have definitive proof of what the inside of an alien looks like. Because, like, you go back to the Roswell crash and stuff.
I'm sorry, what? The inside? We don't know what
Yeah.
the outside looks like.
No. But the thing was like during, I guess I'm kind of jumping around because you guys got me excited about the whole Avatar thing. If we find a dead alien, in the Roswell crash,
Okay.
damn well we're going to open them up,
Oh, yeah.
do an autopsy and
Absolutely.
everything. There's no definitive proof that that's happened. So that could be the fact that maybe it is an avatar. Maybe it's
Right.
just a hollow.
And that way it could be
you
a
know?
biological.
Did you
avatar.
say what?
Right.
Hold on.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like a mechanical robot.
A
It
hollow.
could-
what?
What's that?
What did George just say? A hollow what?
vessel.
Yeah, a hollow fuckable vessel.
What I thought he said. Okay.
A skin flute made
Like
of an
he said,
alien.
fuck
Like a
okay.
fleshlight. It's kind of.
Yeah. It caught me off guard.
It's an alien fleshlight. I don't know. I don't understand where the problem is. Because if we can't dominate it, we
Well-
got to dominate it.
Well, looking at that, if you think about it, as far as space travel, if it makes sense that they would send biological avatars because they probably
that's
can't live through whatever type of travel they're doing. Is it what the fuck?
Right. Right.
Scissoring.
What he was doing. The
It all depends on how they travel.
Scissoring.
It all depends on how they travel.
And that's my point. They might have to use wormholes. They might jump through event
Yeah.
horizons. They might, but
If
their
they're-
bodies
if they're
probably
going by-
can't.
Well, if they're
survive
going
it.
by physics that we know, then it's thousands and thousands and thousands of years for a trip.
Right.
Which maybe it is. Maybe they're not using anything special. In which case they'd be avatars.
Well,
Yeah, that almost have to be.
In which
They-
case they're probably jet lagged
No.
as shit when they
No.
get here. They're like,
Yeah.
oh my
No.
Oh
god.
God, it still feels like I'm on West Coast
How-
time.
okay, I was gonna make a statement, but then I just changed my mind because I didn't think far enough ahead. But if the travel distance or the travel time is thousands and thousands of years, how are they avatars? Wouldn't they be dead before they got here?
Maybe they make them on the way here, so that they know in 100 years or 20 years they'll
yeah.
reach here. So they've already.
Okay, then they're
started
not
the incubation
avatars.
process.
Well, unlike the movie
Well, no,
Avatar,
they
it's
could
not
be-
one specific person for that specific avatar.
They could be
Anyone can do it.
biological avatars. I mean,
Yeah.
it just because they're like, they don't have to be robots or they
Fuck,
could
what-
just be they can
No,
be grown.
I
What
think
if it's like a step further? We're like almost like we're just it's like an alien arcade and somebody puts in a quarter and they get to be this avatar.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Is if they've died off before these avatars are here, who's controlling the avatars?
Well, I'm not saying
That's
they
my
died
point.
off. I'm saying that particular person who made that one might be dead.
Well,
It
I
might
think
be
it's
6 generations away, but
Time might mean nothing to them too. I mean,
That's
they've
true.
been thousands and thousands of years.
That
You
was
can't-
kind of why I was going to
Alright.
resend my question, because I thought a little bit further ahead and went, well, they might live to be 1 billion years old. We
or
don't
it
know.
doesn't take that long.
Right.
You know, like you said before.
Actually-
I mean, they may be, bending time and space and all that other space.
You
shit.
almost-
Yeah, we
you
also have to
almost
look at the
to.
aspect is we see time as relative to us. If they're if they've never been on a planet, like maybe their ancestors launched their ship, 1 million years ago, and
Mhm.
they don't understand time. Time is irrelevant. Like Woody said, it doesn't mean anything anymore. So they could be just cruising around the galaxy for millions of years and not even realize, like, we could just be a blip, in their journey. Like,
Yeah,
they-
because
they're like,
time-
oh, look at those things. Yep, see ya.
It's
I'm gone.
completely
Yeah,
relative.
very true.
Like, just depends on where you're at, or how fast it's
Right.
going.
Our entire lifespan, they might have just said, hey, look at this evolving species, and then hung around for like 30 million years. And they're like, oh, that was cool. Let's go. And they're just
Right.
watching. Like, they're watching us evolve
Right.
over the entirety of our
Like
planet.
you watch a bee pollinate a flower for 5 seconds. Like they might
Right.
have just watched us for 20,000 years.
Right.
you
And
know?
that bee's like, whew, that was a hard day's work right there.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah,
have you talked yourself into that aliens have visited us yet, Woody?
I've always believed that. Yeah,
Where's
I think-
everyone at on this? Everyone. I want to know. So Woody's a yes. Okay, but Woody's a yes. Have in the past? Are they still here? There's
Yeah.
like different levels to the question.
I'm a yes, and I think just like our moon, our trip to the moon, and we haven't supposedly gone back. I say, yeah, they
we
did.
have. You do realize there's been like 30 missions to the moon.
There's been like 6,
Okay, 6. There's been a bunch.
maybe 5.
right?
It's real low. It's
Yeah.
something like
After
that.
I thought it was.
Yeah, but I mean,
I thought it
you
was
would
higher than
figure.
that. But they were
Are you talking
mostly.
about for the Earth or for Americans? Because I think Jeff's right. I think
Yeah, there's been a bunch.
Up-
That's how we have all
Apollo
those.
11 was the first.
for the
Apollo
US.
18 was the movie that never actually happened. So it
Right.
was 1 through 7, 11 through 17, and 13 didn't make it.
Okay, what about Russia? What about China?
Right.
They've all been. I
Yeah.
think if you're talking worldwide for a human race, I think we've been to the moon like closer to 30 times. I think he's right.
Okay,
No
Right.
one except an American has ever done it.
No. We
What?
set foot on the moon. There have been many landers that have picked up.
Oh
rocks.
yeah, little
There's-
probes and shit.
there
but I'm
is a-
talking. I'm talking
talking-
people.
People.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
if
there's-
it was
No,
if
we
it's
sent
that
robots to
exciting,
collect
why are we
rocks.
not going?
Because it's not that exciting.
And why
They
have we
couldn't
not
get through the Van
established-
Allen belt.
China is working on China has
you.
what are they called? Rovers and other things that are mapping the
Yeah.
far side of the moon right now. They're going to build a base. Like, that's their plan. They're going to build a moon base.
Yeah, they'll see.
Okay, but you how far in advance though? Is it because the thing is now, like, if America is the only people to walk on the moon,
America.
okay, and that was in 1968, correct?
9.
69. Flip it around, bitches. And so in 1969 we walked on the moon,
Right.
allegedly. Then how are they going to build a base if literally it was since 1969 since we physically walked on
I
the
think
moon?
it was 72 or 74 was the last time.
Because we didn't
So-
have the technology to do the bases.
Right.
that-
He's not saying that they're going to build it next year. He's
Right,
saying that
They're
this is a
planning it. They're
plan.
up. Right.
yeah.
So what's their timeline?
I have no idea. I'm not China.
Do you think the Chinese government's telling us their timeline?
From
Right.
what I see, and
I think
I'm going to go
Jeff's
back
a-
to this
a
moon
double
landing thing
agent.
for a second.
Just
what
the
I-
Chinese double
From
agent.
everything I see, the reason we haven't gone back yet, they claim they lost all the technology because they didn't store it properly.
No,
It was
that's
in
just
Nobody
Japan.
claimed that.
No, no,
That's bullshit
no.
conspiracy theory.
No, they do. They say that. People from NASA say that.
Jeff's saying you're a fucking liar.
They have the technology in a fucking museum in Huntsville, Alabama. They have the technology. They have all of it. They've lost records. They've lost some of the recordings. that they took.
What
They
they're
didn't use
saying
the
right now
technology.
is they can't shield the module for the Van Allen belt.
But in 1969, you know what? I've just convinced myself we haven't been to the
If
moon.
that were true, the ISS wouldn't be
Where
in orbit
the
right now.
ISS is nowhere near the Van Allen belt.
Oh yeah, it's
Not
low
even
Earth orbit.
close.
Actually, it's
We've
yeah.
I thought
the Van
I thought it
Allen
was
Van
farther
Allen
than that,
radiation
Van Allen.
belt goes from 10,000 to 25,000 miles out.
And
So-
how far? Where's this International Space Station?
Low Earth
That's a
orbit.
good question.
It's like
It's like
what,
any other
100
satellite.
miles up or something.
Yeah,
really
255 miles up.
Yeah, okay. It's not even close to that 10,000.
So are you with? Do you think that there's a chance that we never even made it?
right,
Who are you
correct.
asking?
Me?
I'll ask everybody because
Me?
Oh, we
I'll go
know.
first.
I have a hard time believing that in 1969
Jesus Christ.
we actually physically walked on the moon, right?
We were there.
Correct.
There's a metal reflecting dish. They use it to judge the.
It was put on by a
Speed.
rover.
Yeah, you can't. I have no doubt they actually
Okay,
launched
that's
things
a good
to it.
point. They could have.
And-
wait.
And well, this is back from when we actually did our moon landing show. I'm not even saying that humans didn't go, but it wasn't Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and all those guys and Mike.
If
Collins.
Buzz was alive, he'd beat your ass for saying that, though.
Right.
Buzz is
Punch you in the
alive,
face.
and Buzz has said he hasn't gone.
Did he
In
really?
multiple
What?
interviews.
Oh bullshit! He's fought guys over that.
Yeah, he has. He's
He punched
gone.
that one dude.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
said he didn't go. He was so pissed that he knocked the dude out. Fucking laid him out.
I'll send you 2 clips when we're done.
It's
The deep fake.
It-
Yeah,
it-
the two
it
clips that
better not
just
be
came
Buzz
out.
Lightyear.
And I thought Buzz did die this year.
No, he's alive. Once
That
he
was
said
the
it
other
on
one.
Conan. Once he said it on Conan, he said what Conan said. I remember watching you guys land on the moon, and he said, "No, we didn't do it."
No.
said-
He said you
he
didn't watch
said-
us land on the
he
moon
said-
because we didn't have
We're getting to
video
that.
of the landing.
He said, "What you watched is an animation."
Yes, because they
And
didn't have
then-
cameras on the ship
And
pointing at the
then
ship landing. You're
a
missing
little
his point.
girl asked.
Oh my god.
A little girl asked something about I can't remember, why haven't we been to the moon? And he said, because we didn't go. We were never there. I'll send you the clip.
And then I think,
Yes.
I mean, there is a legitimate chance that because we're racing the Soviet Union at the time to get on the moon
Right.
first, there is a very good chance. All right. Now, I don't want to sound like some kind of batshit crazy conspiracy guy, but there is a part of me that's like, no, we didn't.
You also were almost convinced that the Earth is flat. So
I was not almost convinced the Earth was flat.
you had a whole episode on it.
Woody was convinced the dog talked via a pushboard.
Bunny does talk.
I mean, if we're going to start slinging stones, for God's sakes,
Don't bring
Oh,
Bunny into
God.
this.
Buddy's an innocent creature. You're right.
Bunny.
It's
Bunny.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, Bunny, ball,
And
ball.
so's Buddy.
So
No. So do you really honestly think then in 1969 we were on the moon?
I think it's a good possibility that we did go. I don't think it was Neil Armstrong and Buzz. I really don't.
it doesn't
I think
matter.
they
if it
would
was
have
them.
died.
It was
I
somebody
think
landed
it was
on
like
the moon.
I think it was
There's
like
a
a
flag
suicide
there.
mission.
You can
No,
see it
and
with
that's
them.
another thing. I mean, is there? I don't know. I mean,
They've
you
got
just say there
coordinates
is.
from. I've never seen it because I don't have a telescope. But from what I understand, if you got a strong enough telescope that you can see other planets, you can find the flag on.
you
the moon.
can't. You can't see
No,
anything.
there's
That's
no way.
You can't.
Yeah.
If
No,
you
no,
can
yeah,
see
yeah,
the fucking rings
No, you
of
can't.
Saturn, you should be able to see a flag on the moon.
The rings
Nah.
of Saturn are like what? Hundreds of thousands of miles wide. That's why you can see them.
No. I'm
Yeah.
talking particles. Like we've
You
got
can't.
telescopes strong enough to. I guess
They're in
that.
space though.
In space.
Yeah, the space telescope.
What? That's my point. Is we've got space telescopes that strong. I'm sure we have a telescope on Earth.
Do you
that
think the
can go,
flag is
"Look,
still
there it is."
standing straight and
If-
going like this?
If we have telescopes like that, which I do agree, our telescopes are that strong. You look at James Webb, you look at Hubble. Why haven't they ever pointed at it and showed us the moon landing site?
I don't know. Ask them.
It just seems.
I don't know
weird,
how we
'cause
got back onto this topic. from
Because
where
it
we
costs
were, 'cause-
probably
aliens.
millions of dollars to
Right.
readjust that, and then I mean, like when they launch
Yep.
those satellites, they have a plan, okay, and that plan is to map the solar system. It's
You'd
not
be surprised.
to take
You'd be
a shot of
surprised.
the moon and then
No, different people can rent time with these things.
Right,
So
but
no,
it's a
no
Hubble.
one's ever
You
rented
can-
time and done that.
no, like maybe it's not in that general direction. Like
How convenient.
I
don't
smell
know.
defeat. You get. I smell feet. Defeat.
Defeat.
Woody,
what?
you seem upset about this.
He seems upset.
I think it's ridiculous. I don't know why you guys are so anti. We landed on the moon.
Right.
I've seen a lot of shit.
It's radiation. We can lead. Radiation doesn't go through lead.
Yes,
So-
some does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't stop everything.
Nothing
A
stops
lead
everything.
suit
but that's
doesn't
not,
get. You can't go swimming in a fucking nuclear reactor pool with a lead suit.
But did they
Um,
have? How did we not get lead
have
poisoning?
you-
then?
Hang on. How do you think we put the nuclear rods into nuclear reactors?
I'm
Do
You
Assuming
think
very
the guys
carefully.
that are handling that
Drop it.
equipment aren't wearing fully radioactive resistant
I don't think
suits?
hands
You
are
think they're
putting
getting
it in.
radiated?
No, I think it's
constantly?
machines putting it in. I don't.
You don't think
They're-
there's
the
somebody
machines are
standing
putting it
over?
in, but somebody's moving the shit in and out. Somebody's in a truck with a fucking piece of, actually more than one piece of irradiated uranium, and you think these guys are not in 100% radiation-proof vehicles?
I
Well,
think
yeah.
that's how Rochambeau
Oh yeah.
got
Well, then
invented.
that defeats
Paper,
the
rock,
thing you just
scissors.
said that
Fuck.
nothing is 100%.
So launch
Radiation
one of
proof.
those vehicles that has 2 foot thick of lead around each shell or each side. Launch one up in a rocket.
Right.
They
You're
weigh
not going
so
to.
much. No, you're not going. That's my point. They have to do this in space. They got to get it up there. They don't build it in space. They can, but they didn't before. That fucking thing that flew through there was fucking shielded in gold foil when they flew it home.
Yes.
Gold
I
foil.
think this is a very silly argument for us as
I'm tired of having
Novices,
it, honestly. Every
not-
fucking episode.
like
seem
we
to have
don't
this
really
argument.
know how much they need, how much lead you would need to block the radiation from the Van Allen belt. We don't know. Like this is a silly argument to have. We can
Right.
just say you would need 2 foot thick walls and they can't build that, but we're not that smart. We don't
Okay.
have that knowledge, so it's a silly argument to have.
I'll
And if
tell
it
you
were-
what's not a silly argument. The largest airport in the United States.
No, that's a very silly
LAX?
argument.
No. I'm talking about the Denver airport.
Atlanta.
Denver
guys.
Airport, my friend.
It's bigger than Atlanta.
Yeah. So let me give you a little background. That was the way I steered us into this. Our other topic of the day. Right?
Pardon me.
Other than in 1915, we set our clocks back for the first time. Do you know why they did that? I'm going to give you a little known fact.
These are farmers, right?
Oh,
Well, it
well,
was
in
also-
fact, we haven't had one of these in a long time. Do it.
Little known fact, the reason they actually turned the clocks to have more daylight is it was for retail. Because when people got off work from the factories, if it was daylight, they would be more apt to actually go shopping. And that stimulated the economy.
Oh,
And for
Bullshit.
farmers, but that's the better taught one is because of farming, but the actual reason why I just read last night was because they
I don't believe it.
I can tell you for a fact that
In
the farming one
1915
is bullshit.
okay.
Because animals
Hold on.
can't tell
Hold
time.
on here.
Neither can crops.
Well, no, but you have to think it was they have to see the farmers have to be able to see what they're doing. I
It doesn't
understand
matter.
that.
The animals need to do what they need to do at the same time every day, whether it's dark or
Yeah,
light. There's
but the
no,
There's
farmers-
not animals.
it's-
they're
I grew up on a
outside the
farm.
field.
You ever
I
try
grew
to
up
milk a
fields,
cow
though.
in the dark?
Woody
It-
worked on a farm.
doesn't fucking matter because the cows get milked at the same time every day. They don't care if it changes.
Okay,
It's the
here.
same time. I
get
fucking
when
milked
the
cows
farmers do
on the
it.
farm. I milked cows on a farm. Like growing
I'll
up.
read this. Daylight
I know what it
savings
says,
time
but it's
is a
bullshit.
moneymaker.
Ask any farmer. They don't. Oh, that you're
When
talking
daylight
about
He
the-
found
savings
it-
was
he found it
extended
on the
into
internet. It's got to be true.
early November 15 years ago, U.S. candy industry was a winner since the extra hour of
There you go.
daylight would drive sales, more Halloween treats. They understood that very early on, if you give workers daylight when they leave their jobs, they are much more apt to shop on their way home. Now, I think, Jeff, I agree with you. Animals don't give a shit about time.
Right.
Okay. But that's not the farming that they're talking about. What they're talking about is for the corn crop, for the wheat crop. And if you have an extra hour of work, you get more production. Because
you only get that extra hour when you fall back, and it's only 1 hour. Otherwise, you're just adjusting the time. Again, farmers don't give a fuck what time it is.
let me
They go
ask you
from
this.
sun up to sun down,
Correct.
and it
if you get
changes
an
daily.
extra
So tell me
hour,
again. No, you don't. There's no extra hour. You don't get an extra hour of daylight. You just change the fucking clock. Again, farmers
gives
don't
you-
care about the time. They don't
It
look at
gives
the
you
time.
more time.
When the sun comes up, they're up and they're out. When the sun goes down, they go in.
so let me
You
ask
don't
you this.
get another hour. That's not how
Now,
this
what I
works.
would argue with you is
you can argue
If
all you
at
want. It's a
6
fact.
a.m.
Oh my God! Let him
No,
talk.
No,
Let him
listen,
make his
you
point.
do not get
Jesus.
an extra hour. The sun
Jeff,
comes
we
up
understand your
and
point.
down.
We all get it.
Obviously
Let
not.
George talk.
but
No,
what
sorry, George. Go
no,
on.
no, it's okay. And I understand where you're coming from because you're a farmer. But
Yes,
the
Jeff the farmer.
other thing, and I understand, but if you wake up at 5 a.m. and it's daylight, or if you wake up at 6 a.m.
And listen
it's
to yourself
daylight,
real close on this, friend, because you're
Okay.
exactly right. Go.
and if at 9 p.m. it's still daylight ish, okay. I know, I understand that in the wintertime, with the proximity of the sun and everything, by 5:30 it's getting dark. But if once you spring ahead an hour, okay,
Right?
5 is actually 6
5.
o'clock. But it's not though.
It is.
You actually, if you leave work at 6
I understand
p.m.,
what you're saying, but
it's
you're-
pitch
I-
black.
right now, what we just did last night, or today actually,
Yeah.
was fall back.
And
what
I had
does
an
that
extra
do?
hour of sleep.
It makes it darker when we leave work. So now we're going to work and coming home from work in the dark.
Correct.
This is the
That's-
real time. This is the real time.
This is the real time, right? That's what it did. We didn't gain anything. We didn't lose anything. It's just
Well,
this
we
is-
did get an
we are
extra
on
hour of
standard
sleep.
time. Okay. Now, which is where we need to stay. But the spring ahead
Mhm.
is it makes sense for the people working and coming home later, but any argument for it doesn't make any sense because when you spring ahead, we're already gaining time at the end of the day. So there's no reason for it. Because it's summer and we have
Correct.
longer days in the summer. So why would you spring ahead to make longer days at the end of the workday when you know what you see what I'm saying? Like there's absolutely no reason for what we do because it contradicts nature. Because it's already doing that. Nature is doing that for us. They're
Other
like,
than
oh, we
it
need
would
an
be-
extra hour.
Other than it would be 8 o'clock as opposed to 9. So people
Right,
can
but-
work. So people can work an extra hour a day on their
Okay.
crops.
No,
To-
they
to-
can't. There's still only so many hours in a day. That's the point you're missing.
Okay,
It's
let me try. Let me try this, Jeff, because I understand where you're coming from. So what Jeff said, you have to think about when they enacted this. This was 1915, right?
right.
Yeah, they didn't even
Okay.
have headlamps.
Okay, everybody calm down. So the farmers weren't looking, they didn't have an alarm clock set for
Nope.
5 o'clock to get them up. They got up when the sun came up and they worked till the sun went down.
Yep.
And in the wintertime, that's a shorter amount of time than it is
Yep.
in the summertime. That's a longer amount of time.
Yep.
So that's the point he's making. Same thing with like factories and stuff like that. They did not give a shit about 8-hour shifts back then. Start times. It was they told you when to be in and when you were how long you were working. You're talking
Right.
1950. So I don't understand why. I don't get the whole how back then. Now I understand. You know, people say, well, you know, it's lighter when you get off of work. Well, back then they worked till they were done. You
Right.
know, and it had nothing to do with what time of the day it was.
Right. And the funny thing is, by doing what we do, we're just making it worse because we fall back when we're still enjoying sun while we're getting off work. Today, if I were going to go to work today, it would be dark when I got home. Like
Right.
we do it backwards, but we're now, like DJ said, we are on standard time. This is the time we should always be on. So the reason they did it in the first place had to be during the spring when they tried to get more hours or an hour more light when they're already getting an hour more light.
It was for agriculture. But
See, that I don't get.
It's
don't
not for
understand.
agriculture. It was never for agriculture. It's been debunked. Sorry, go ahead, Woody.
I don't understand why we actually did it. That doesn't make sense to me because, like I said, at the time, did we? I'm sure we had wristwatches, but not very many people did.
Right.
You know, I'm sure there wasn't a lot of people in 1915 that had clocks in their houses. You know, not your average person. Why did we do it? What was the actual driving force behind it?
From what I understand, we're going to spring ahead in the spring and stay there.
We shouldn't. We need to stay where we're at.
that's
No,
only
this
if
is
it
the-
passes the House.
I hate this.
Yeah, I
It already
agree.
did.
Not
did.
yet. It is not passed the House yet. They're sitting on it still.
Oh,
Yeah,
but it passed
passed the
the
Senate.
Senate. But it passed the Senate 100-0.
And
So I
in
mean, I'm
the
not
yeah,
really
and-
looking for it to fail. I mean,
but in the House, and then Biden will go, "Hey, what?"
It
I gotta
doesn't
what?
even have to pass anything. It's not a fucking law.
yeah, it is.
But
No,
it
it's
is a
not.
federal
Half
law.
of
No,
the
it is
states
a
in-
law.
Half of
It
the
is a-
states in the United
no.
States don't do it.
Two, Alaska and Hawaii are the only two that
No,
do it.
Arizona.
No, there are
Arizona, Chicago, Illinois, I think doesn't do it.
Yeah. there
Like
are
part of
literally
Illinois, the part that Chicago's in, does
Right.
not do it.
there are literally cities on borders that refuse. So at one time a year they're in one time zone, and another time of the year they're in another time zone because they refuse to change their
Yeah.
law.
They're passing.
It's not a law. They don't have to do it. We do because
Every
everybody
state
around
except
us does.
Hawaii and Arizona currently observe daylight savings time, but each year more and more states say
No,
it's stop futzing with the clock.
I've done a lot
There
of
are
looking into this. I've read
two.
a lot of reasons. I've
All right.
read a
I'm going to
lot
send
of
you. I'm going to send
I
you
swear
this article.
Chicago was when I was driving truck,
I'm going to send you
remember-
this article.
having a
Who's
worry
the
about
article
that.
from? QAnon? Fucking
And-
Christ.
NPR. I made sure I picked a.
I don't
Fake
know if I trust
news.
NPR
Fake
that much these
news.
days.
All right, so I'm going to send this,
Of
and I'm
course
not
not.
saying it's the be all end all, okay? But there you go. We can all look at the same. We all can look at the exact
Did you
same.
put it in the comments up here so that we can all see it?
I don't
We
know how
could
to
share
do
it
that.
with our friends.
How do I do that?
You go to.
I've got it on my phone.
I don't know. Oh, we've got private chat. We don't do comments. We can do private chat. You just right click and put it in there. And it's there.
So, what
So
I'm
either way,
saying, there are
fine,
two states that don't recognize it. There are, so that means
Ooh,
we have 48 states that currently, and it's a federal law by the Department of Transportation. Okay, they have to vote it out, and the president has to sign off on it for it not to be. Now, I think it's stupid too.
I mean,
okay?
that may be. That's fine. But I'm telling you, I've done a lot of reading on this. A lot of reading. There are cities that refuse to do it. There are.
You should
states that don't.
let the Senate know that you figured it out because they
Well,
voted on it 100.
he said- I know they did.
So
I'm
clearly,
just saying. I don't know why they need to do a law to say, "Hey, we need to stop doing this," because I don't.
they're not even stopping doing it. Really, they're actually making it permanent.
Yeah.
Now, if they're making a law so that everybody has to follow it, that makes sense.
They're not eliminating daylight savings. They're keeping daylight savings only.
Yeah, because more sun means happier people. In
You have
theory.
more sun after work. No, Jeff, not everybody fucking wakes up when the sun comes up and goes to bed
That's
when
not
the
what
sun
I'm saying.
goes down.
No.
Okay, well, they're keeping this because people get off work. The overwhelming majority of people get off work around supper time, and they don't want it to be dark by the time they get home. They're keeping
Yes,
the
I know
longer-
that. So they're
Well, that-
keeping the.
But you're saying that's the stupid way. That's not the stupid way. You want it to be dark at 4 o'clock or
No, I
5
don't.
o'clock?
My point was, it's only like 2 months of the year.
think we
that
need to
works.
change the orbit of the Earth.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
what we should do.
It's 5 months of the year, but
No.
it's November.
Do you know
to
how
April.
the sun works in our orbit? Because my point
Are we
is,
talking the sun or are we talking daylight savings time?
so if you want a longer day every day, if you
Wake up
really
earlier?
wanted, there are birds, they're Arctic terns. They migrate from the North Pole to the South Pole. Do you know why they do that? So that they're always in daylight, always,
Or you can go to Alaska.
except while they're migrating, because
if you
they
like
go
6
to.
months.
Listen, you're trying to argue about time, about something that you guys obviously don't understand, because we're not gaining hours.
No one
There
said
is
we're
a
gaining
cycle.
hours.
You literally said that.
Jeff,
I'm sorry.
get what you're
I'm
saying.
sorry.
At
I
the
just
end of the
fucking said
day,
that.
You,
They're
you guys have
doing
both
it
said we gain
for
an hour.
the. Oh, okay. Never mind. You're right.
Of sunlight.
yes.
But that's my
They're-
point. You're not gaining, you're just shifting. And I get that.
Which
But-
is gaining.
Waking
You don't get it.
hours.
You don't get it. That's what I said.
Waking hours.
I said they're gaining hours. That's what I said, Jeff. You are 100%.
I did not realize that this would be
I'll
the
just
topic that breaks
I'll
up the
just
show.
unplug the fucking mic. 'Cause Jeff told me what I fucking said.
Well, when I record it, I'll copy it out for you and send it to you so you can have a fucking memento. How's that sound?
Okay.
You guys just haven't heard a fucking thing I've said, and I'm trying to tell you. I understand that when shifting the clock, you have that little bit of time that changes fucking daily. All right? For 3 months, 2 months. Actually, it's like 2 months, and then it goes back to regular. So changing the clocks has absolutely minuscule impact on anybody's lives, which is why we started this conversation, was why we do it. You still can't even offer a valid reason other than agriculture, which has been debunked 1,000 fucking times.
I
It is
have
not for
literally
agriculture.
said it was for shopping as well.
Okay, that
And
maybe.
people are
That's
more
how
active.
George started this conversation.
I know,
the
but
people are
everybody-
more
and you
active.
started screaming about it.
During the day, Jeff. And the thing that I'm saying is, as a kid, wouldn't it be cooler if the streetlights came on at 9 as opposed to 8?
Sure.
Yeah, it's fucking badass because you stay out till in the summertime, everything's longer. You wake up, you're excited to seize the day. Carpe
Yes.
diem doesn't mean seize the night, it seize the day. And
And
the
what time does
sunlight
it
is
get
the
dark
day.
in the summer?
What's that?
What time does it get dark in the middle of the summer?
Oh, right now between 8:30.
No.
And 9.
Right now, it's like 10 because
No.
of daylight savings time.
But no,
That's what
but
happens.
we spring ahead.
Yes.
So it's 9. It's never bright.
Right.
Sunlight.
That's what he's
It's
saying.
never-
That's why he's saying in the summer, like when they spring ahead, that's where they're going to leave it.
yeah.
Right. So it's going to be
Because people,
right. I
when
get
they're awake, will have more sunshine. That's it.
right.
Right.
But we don't need it to be sunlight at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, which it will be for about 2 months.
Listen, I'm
Yeah.
sorry that you're dying on the cross on this one.
No,
but
you guys just don't
Yeah, it makes
understand
no-
my point, and it's
I think
No,
all
we
three
do.
of us
You
do
don't
understand.
understand
I
any
don't
of it.
think you're understanding the point.
Not
And
agreeing
I-
with you doesn't mean we don't understand your point.
Right.
then what's my point?
Your point is that no
You're a
matter
vampire.
no matter what anybody does, the sun rises and sets for the same amount of hours on December 15th every year. It doesn't matter what you call 2 o'clock and 4. It doesn't fucking matter. It rises and sets at the same time. It doesn't matter how you shift your clock. We all get it.
That's actually not my point. My
Oh
point
my
is
God.
my point is it's a cycle. In the winter, you have shorter days. In the summer,
Correct.
you have longer days.
Speak slower, Jeff.
The time change adjusts it against
Yeah.
that. Right?
Yes.
If we leave it where we're at now, then we get as you would say, an extra hour of light at the end of the day when everybody's off work. But that's only good in the winter, which is why they switched it back to the summer, because if you switch it back in the summer, you now end up with 9 o'clock, a decent time where the sun sets instead of 10 or 11 when people are trying to sleep. And I can't argue either way because I don't think it makes sense to change the time.
I think
but
you just put yourself into
No.
our point.
but I think if you're going to change it to where it's the normal time that matches the rest of the world instead of getting longer days in the summer when you don't need them.
Well, this is just something that makes America great. All right. It's just, the Swedes, they're not as happy as we are because they don't have that extra hour of daylight. Germans.
The Swedes are north of the area. They actually have a day in the summer that has 24 hours of sunlight.
Correct.
So anyway, that was said backwards because we didn't adjust the time for the winter. We adjusted it for the summer.
Correct.
What,
Daylight
last night
savings.
when we
Daylight
fell back?
savings. Now we're in the real time.
Right. Correct.
But you said we adjusted it for the winter.
No,
we
I
didn't
said,
adjust it for the winter. That's what you just said.
well, we adjusted back to the normal time from the winter.
Yes.
You're correct. I did say
So,
that we adjusted for the winter,
we
but we
keep
adjusted back to standard time.
The overwhelming majority of people want to stay daylight longer throughout the most of the year
While they're awake.
Right.
while they're awake. Yes, like after
Because
work.
we're
Not-
creatures of habit. If I go to bed at 9 every day, which traditionally I go to bed between 9 and 9:30, okay? If it's still daylight, I don't want to go to bed because I
Yeah.
want to still do something, okay? That's pretty much all that they're doing it for, okay? Is productivity, whether it's agricultural, industrial, consumer. However, it's just a fact that people are more productive during the daylight because our nocturnal clocks start when the sun goes down. You start winding down, you get tired. That's the time you go to sleep. That's why people on midnight shifts are so fucked up and have health problems and stuff because their nocturnal clock is crazy because you're putting blackout curtains on your windows to sleep at 8 a.m. in the morning when the entire world is going about their business and enjoying the daylight or working during the daylight. If you go out for a cigarette break, it is much better to go out for a cigarette break at 8:30 p.m. and have it nice and bright and warm. And you're like, God, I can't wait till I get off work. It's going to be gorgeous out. That's it. That's the bottom line. It's the productivity of people. However, whatever point we want to say is more productive, people are more productive in the sunlight.
Not that I thought I'd ever say this, but hey, what about that Denver airport?
Well, we'll have to talk about it next week because we're at 46 minutes. And
Are we
so
really? I think that's
yeah.
the perfect amount of time to talk about Denver airport.
I was gonna say
It's
3
all
minutes is more than
bullshit.
enough time. It is
No,
all
it's not.
bullshit.
all right,
There's-
boys.
There's
Here's
no
the-
basements. There's no.
No, there isn't. There's a gigantic basement.
Yeah, but it's not like 16 super sub basement level
All right.
bunkers.
This
and-
I'm going to share this thing with you, okay,
Please.
and the article, and we'll go from there. Okay. So here it's an article by Mental Floss. We'll all reference the same one.
Okay.
All right. Just
Said
so
it.
you don't think I'm making stuff up. I don't want to do this. So
Okay, well, I don't have time to read this right now. 'cause I'm
no,
doing
it's
show.
fine. But I'm going to go at number 1. Okay. The Denver airport's runways. We'll just touch on this. We can go a little deeper in another episode, I guess. Create a hate symbol. All right.
Not if you're German.
Well, that's true. Or
Oh,
Indian, where they took it.
True.
And that symbol, okay, for one, that symbol is also a Japanese symbol of luck. 2, it's also they completely debunked that where they said that it has to do with the winds and how you approach the airport.
Yeah.
And they had to make it like that, I guess, to get that amount of planes with the crosswinds and all that, and
Sure.
Everything.
But do
going
you
at
think
once.
people do you think people like look at it and go, oh, that looks like a swastika? Or do you think they go, huh, that's because of the crosswinds?
I don't think
People
very
look at
many
it and
people
go, that's a swastika.
But a swastika.
George, when you're flying into an airport, do you see the runways? Like you do when you're landing, like you see a small section. You're not seeing the overall picture of the runways as
Sure,
you're
the
flying.
people in the plane aren't.
But people
right,
have
on
drones
Google Maps.
and can
Eh,
take
not-
aerial
not when that-
photos.
Not when that thing was being made. Drones weren't a
Yeah.
thing.
It's not that old.
It's older than
1995.
drones. Which is older
Yeah.
than drones. How many
Yeah.
drones did you see flying around?
We
in
had drones.
1995?
Our military had drones in 1991.
But
Yeah,
did
we
but
were
not-
when
but
we
did
were in the
we?
first Persian Gulf War.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
but
matter. You can't
those are
fly
different.
drones over an airport anyway.
Exactly.
boom.
What
We
if
had
you're standing on
helicopters
top?
though, and you can get helicopters over
or
airports because
little
they-
Cessna
Right.
planes and stuff.
Right.
All right.
But your average person, which is what they're concerned about with being, oh my gosh, it's a swastika.
All
But
right.
you say it's for crosswinds, but that's facing all 4 directions. So what would be the difference if you didn't form it as a swastika?
Well, the winds don't just go in the north, south, east, west directions. They also go cross.
Yeah.
And because they decided to build an airport on a mountain.
But a swastika
Which is
goes
the-
every direction.
It goes 4 directions of 365 directions. Okay, go ahead, George.
Well,
no, you're good.
It goes 8.
Did you say 365 directions?
Yeah,
Isn't it 360?
You're talking about degrees.
right. Exactly. When you have a circle that you're talking about a 3D plane.
Right.
You have a
No, I,
circle
360.
that
you
Yeah.
said
it's
365. But you were thinking, yeah.
365 degrees around.
It's only
it.
300.
Oh, it's 360. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, whatever.
He's
knew what he
thinking
meant.
we were talking years,
I'm
and I think he
thinking-
got stuck on days. And
I'm
All
thinking
right.
straight down, straight up.
So
There's
how do
another-
we explain number 2 then? Okay. All right.
Hold on. Find
The
number two.
biological warfare with the
It's
Leo Tugamaro's 2
Yeah.
murals. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, now these murals were painted way prior to 9/11. Okay,
Correct.
the murals were supposed to show like the atrocities of war, and then what happens when the world comes together in peace. So you
Correct.
have
But
to
why
have-
do you fucking
have
put
to
that in
have-
an airport?
Why is that in an airport?
Because
no idea.
they hired when those murals are done, they don't say, "Hey," or at least back then they weren't like, "Hey, show us what you're gonna do." He was a famous artist in the area, and they're like, "We're gonna hire you to make these murals."
Correct. And you don't
Right.
think it's kind of crazy when he's like, voila, and the
No,
curtain
I do.
drops, and all of a sudden he's like, people are like, why the fuck's that guy in a gas mask? Why are the
Right.
children screaming?
I do. I absolutely.
And why did
agree
they
with you.
keep it?
Because it probably cost a lot of
It
money.
Well,
costs
no,
a lot of money.
because
Dude,
a
they can,
portion of the airport's budget was actually, they said they would donate a portion of the airport's budget to the art.
And then they went
of
$2
Denver.
billion over the
Right.
budget. So
Correct.
do you think they had money to change it?
They do. You could hang another painting.
a gallon of paint, man.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It says
I'm not
Right.
saying to put a new mural up. I'm saying
Right.
go get some Sherwin-Williams
it says
fucking white.
literally the inlay on the floor has ow and og, AG, AU and AG. Okay, it's a
Right,
nod
because-
to gold, silver. Colorado does have a rich military history. I get
It's
that.
Military mining
it also has some kind of meaning about smallpox. The
Mhm.
AU, what is it? AG and AU. It has something to do with smallpox.
But
I have no idea.
what?
Yeah, I don't
know about
understand
that.
I've heard that.
I just know that Colorado is a very big mining area, state. So they're putting in nods to the mining. Like
Can I take a step back to the mural for a second? Because
as long as you don't
Woody
talk about
said-
time change.
what he
You can
said,
see it longer in the summer because of the time change.
Stop. Go ahead, Jeff.
Woody said that it was a famous local artist. The reason, and I'm not defending the art because it is horrible.
It does
but-
sound like you are.
But
It
no,
is
I'm
horrible.
defending the airport because they paid money to have it done by a famous artist.
Yeah.
The airport's probably worth more now than it was
Yeah.
before because
the
they've got
horse-
this painting. They're probably like, it's worth more money if we keep it because it's a famous artist. You know, it's like
Oh,
it's
God.
not exactly a Rembrandt or a Da Vinci,
Right.
but
Yeah, but still, man. It's
Why
when
are
you're
the
freaking
Masonic-
out when you're freaking out passengers that
I
are
know.
landing. It's
Dude,
time to
have you been to
Why-
Detroit though? Their murals aren't much better.
Let's go to 3.
That's
real
not
quick.
murals,
Okay.
those are blood splatter.
Let's go to 3.
It's art.
You have the Masonic emblem, and you also
Because
have the New World
Masons
Airport
fucking
Commission.
build shit.
Right.
Like,
But
okay,
not
that kills
the
me.
free-
They're like, there's
Masons
Masonic
don't-
symbols all over these buildings in Washington, D.C. Well, the fucking Masons
Correct.
build them. If I
Back
would
in,
have something,
okay, no.
No,
Back
I was
then
doing
they
something,
did.
you'd be damn
Right.
certain that my fucking initials would be in there somewhere. Like,
Right.
I carved my initials in my son's fucking foot.
Listen, union bricklayers aren't all in the Freemason.
That's
lodge.
what I'm saying.
It's a secret
Masons aren't
society.
the Masons aren't a thing now
It's not that secret,
actually
Justin's
go build
a
buildings.
Freemason.
So
That's
so
like
am I.
unions.
I mean, it's
Right, but your largest section, the guy that was in charge, I'm
Not
sure
sure.
was a Mason.
Yes,
And
but they had to meet in secret at the time. Okay,
because
when the lodge was created.
Look at you.
But- Huh?
They're all secret. They're all preppers. They don't want anybody looking
Right.
at their hoards, and all Masons are crazy.
You are a bitter man. You
I
and
thought-
Jeff.
at first I
The
thought he
bottom
was
of
saying-
this-
when he
The
was saying
bottom
the
of
head,
the
the biggest
fort.
head. I thought he was calling George Big Head.
Yeah, well, it is true. That's why I've got AKA Baby New Year. 'Cause- But no, and then the New World Airport Commission, the New World Order. What are we
Yeah, that
talking
was
there,
kinda
Woody?
fucked up.
What do we got?
I don't know about that.
The organization.
Let me read it.
Go ahead.
It's on
go
a
for it.
plaque, but like it has no.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to go.
I don't have any reason for that, but I'm just saying that like that in and of itself doesn't mean that there's something crazy going on. Like that one little piece of evidence,
Right.
Well, okay.
Isn't
So
enough.
far, we've named numerous pieces of evidence,
And I've debunked
that
every
are-
single one of them.
Right.
but you have not debunked them. You've just gone crosswinds, and so
Right. Now here's the thing: when you have several
Oh,
pieces,
shit.
and maybe you can there's a explanation for all the individual things, but why did they do all of these things? It's just weird. As
I'm
a whole,
betting-
it's weird.
I'm betting that there was obviously some shenanigans going on with the building of that airport. Somebody was on the take. A lot of people probably on the take on that.
Absolutely.
And so like so and so's brother got to make this mural or whatever. So and so, or maybe not the mural, but like the statue outside of the horse or
horse
whatever,
killed the guy.
plaques or whatever.
The man that made the horse got crushed by the horse with the fucking red eyes and the blue lights. And
Yeah, and
Now-
a few weeks ago I said it was his penis, and it wasn't. It wasn't.
We
Oh,
were hoping.
And
I was
how
just
many
thinking it was his
how
penis.
how
What
many,
a way!
how many artists that like make giant sculptures get injured or killed by their sculptures? I'm sure there's quite a few.
What are you
If
basing
you're
that on?
carving or you're
Yeah.
welding and you're creating something that's like made out of steel and it's gigantic, the risk to yourself is going to be there. It's
I've
Yeah.
never heard of it happening.
I've
because-
heard about it
because
at the
it's not
Denver
new.
airport
until
by the hell
it's
horse.
a giant horse cock.
Yeah, I'm sure Michelangelo and
Sorry, giant horse cock has to be the name of this episode now.
Yeah.
Scott.
Time is relevant and giant horse cock.
Like, look, if Michelangelo was carving a giant horse cock, I'm sure a few of his apprentices got crushed. That's all I'm saying.
It's the
Yeah.
price you pay. It is the price you pay.
When you want to learn how to carve
worth it.
marble, I mean,
So we have definitely taken a shallow dive into a very deep topic that we have in this episode.
That's what we do.
Took 3 to 5 years off Jeff's life. We've taken at least
Just an
1
hour.
year off of Woody's life.
I'm going 5 or 6 on me.
And
I
this has
screamed
been
twice.
a volatile episode.
His
Um,
beard was all black at the start of this.
Yeah,
show.
it
Yeah.
started black. Yeah.
yeah, if you look at the time change, but time's just relevant. All right,
especially
so
to the aliens.
It's
So the Denver
It's
airport-
relative, George. Relative.
relative,
Because
you're
Because
right.
I mean, let's be,
Radiant.
Let's be completely honest and real on this. Do you really believe that there's something mystical or something going on with the Denver airport?
Yes, absolutely.
Mystical.
okay.
Mystical?
But
Yeah.
Is it like magic?
we're not talking
No.
mystical. I'm talking. I believe that there are certain things going on at the Denver airport other than just people leaving and going to Denver.
I think it's probably like one of like the what do they call the base in the mountain there?
Yeah,
The
Shiloh. Shiloh.
An arc. You're
is that-
talking about the arcs where they have, like, if there's a nuclear fallout where the rich people go to hide.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
They call them arcs.
Arcs,
Because
okay.
they're like
I
Noah's
think
arcs.
I think there's something to that. I think it is
Sure.
one of those. I
Now,
think it's
I
a
can
place of
believe
two.
that.
I
can-
could, yeah.
I can definitely believe that, but why would you put all this shit on the outside of one of those to make people like if I
Because
was
they
building
love
one of the,
because they love that.
Because it
think
it
so?
detracts. I think
do
it
you-
distracts from the actual purpose of the airport.
I think they like to hide things in plain sight.
Yeah.
you could be right there. I mean, I can
mean,
see that.
You look at you look at Washington, the reflecting pond, right?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And which one is that?
Washington Monument.
Washington Monument.
Yes. It's a sword. From the air, it's a sword.
I thought it was a penis.
That's what I
Well-
thought. That was very phallic.
I know what
Every-
you're talking about. It's,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
allegedly a
I
sword.
guess you can see it.
There's Masonic symbolism all through Washington.
That's the
You know,
fucking Masons build shit.
not when
Not when that.
not when
Washington
it's a
was
secret
built.
society, because the compass and the square have, yes, they are for longitude and latitude. Okay.
And the whole city's laid out like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The entire, it's the whole spoke, the, approach to building a city. We've discussed that a little bit too, but the actual Freemasons is the secret society. Okay.
Right.
Not the Bricklayers Union. They're two different entities, complete two different entities.
I get that, but when I'm saying, I'm not saying that the bricklayers are the masons that are building the shit. I'm saying the masons are the ones in charge of building the shit. They're the
They're
ones
the
that are
architects.
making, right. They're
Yeah,
making the
right.
calls. They're the higher
Okay,
ups.
which then adds credence to the conspiracy of it. Why? Why is the secret society in charge of making the thing? That's
because they've put themselves into that position. They want to build the U.S. They want to be,
which is a conspiracy, and that's all. That's
okay.
all.
But what
But
does
is
that have
Woody's-
to do with the Denver
I got a
airport?
question for Woody. Woody, is your point kind of like the way I'm interpreting this? Is it that it's not the Masons that are building everything? It's that all the powerful people just happen to be Masons.
Yeah.
Right. So
Because
so
they have
then
a
you'll
lot of
see
powerful
Masonic
people in their
symbols in the stuff that
Okay.
they're ordering to be built.
Yes,
I shouldn't say building,
which
but
is a
they're telling
conspiracy in
people.
itself.
It is, but
Right.
Sort of.
It
but
would be like if
but-
it would be like a college fraternity. Like you'd have SIGEPS signs everywhere if they built like they were in charge of building Walmarts, and there was a big SIGEPS thing in the bricks when they did.
Right.
People would be like, "Why the fuck is that there? It doesn't make any sense." It's that kind of thing. It's a secret society.
right, I get that. But what I'm saying is why does that set the Denver airport apart from the Washington Monument and the Library of Congress? Like they're all structures that were built with
By the
Masons in
government.
charge. With Masons in charge, and so they're all tagged.
And the one thing they have in common, I think, is what you've just kind of pushed into here, is it's all government related.
Okay, that's a damn good point. That if
So
the government built that,
why would
and
the
wait,
government build a public airport?
That's a good point.
And with that, we're done for the day. George is a winner. DJ's a winner.
George,
you
you
two
have
down
won the
there
day.
are angry people.
angry men.
We got to just relax a bit. Nothing but love. I didn't realize the time change thing was going to just blow up into what it did. But I think
apologize.
we proved. I think we did prove that it's for the cattle.
You know what?
So-
It made good pod.
It's for milking.
Until the next time, I hope everybody has a great one. I love you guys. This was fun. Peace.
I've never seen a cow wear a watch.
Move over. All right, there we go. Let me end the broadcast on YouTube. I want to thank the 0 people that watched. Thank you guys.